Hi, thank you for stopping by my poster. I'm talking today about new developments in the CyberShake platform, basically since the last SCEC meeting, in particular the developments that have focused on making CyberShake results more useful for the earthquake engineering community. Roughly, these fall into two broad categories. One is improving the rupture models, and the other is broadband CyberShake. Let me zoom in here so you can see my poster a little better as I talk through this. In terms of improving the rupture models, there are a few things we've done. One is to upgrade the rupture generator. So in the past, since 2015, we've used the same version of the Graves and Pawtucket rupture generator intentionally. We wanted to be able to do correct comparisons between Southern and Central and Northern California runs. But having completed those, we decided it was time to upgrade the rupture generator. And so now we're using the same version that the current SCEC broadband platform is using. This does make a difference. If you take a look at a comparison for a single event, the old rupture generator is down here on the bottom, the new is at the top. You'll notice that these large patches of large slip in the bottom generator are now broken up with the new version, and you see a lot more fine-grained detail. A second area that we investigated is modifying the hypocentral spacing. So in CyberShake, one of the ways we sample variability is we take a rupture surface, we evenly space it with hypocenters, and then we simulate each one of those. We get a whole suite of rupture variations. But we weren't sure how sensitive the resulting hazard curve was to modifying the spacing between those hypocenters. What if we make it denser? What if we make it sparser? How much impact does that have? And so we wanted to investigate whether our value of 4.5 kilometers was a good one. So we picked 6 different values of density, plotted hazard curves, and what I want you to notice here is that at the low probabilities, high ground motion levels, you'll see that we have lower hazard for the sparser values and higher hazard for the denser values. And so our question was, is this just a sampling effect, or is there something else going on? So to help us figure that out, over here is a histogram of ground motions. So we've taken the rupture that generated the largest ground motion values, that would be most likely to drive the hazard curve up here. And we've plotted a histogram of looking at the ROTI 50 value for all of the rupture variations that make up that rupture. So for instance, this blue bar is saying that for 5 kilometer spacing, almost half of the rupture variations produce an intensity value for ROTI 50, which is around 900 centimeters per second squared. Here, what I want you to notice is as we get to these denser spacings, particularly 4 kilometers and denser, you'll notice we have a lot more out here in this kind of the long tail at these high ground motion levels. And what ends up happening then is because the hazard curves are based on exceedance, these values here drive the hazard curve at these low probability high ground motion levels. And so the effect that we're seeing here is just kind of a sampling effect. Because we have more variations, we're more able to hit variations that have large ground motions. So based on this, in the end, we decided to change from 4.5 to 4 kilometer spacing. 4 kilometer spacing got us extra values out here, but doesn't computationally cost much more. Putting all these changes together, these are comparison curves. The blue are the values with both of these changes, new rupture generator, new spacing. The black are the old, and as you can see, we don't see a lot of difference for USC or for STNI, which is deep basin site. The other main area that we worked on is broadband CyberShake. So that is taking the deterministic CyberShake results that are produced using the wave propagation simulations and the reciprocity and combining it with stochastic high-frequency results that are generated using the Graves and Pawtucket high-frequency module from the SCEC broadband platform. Those of you who have been around CyberShake for a while may remember that we've done this before. In fact, in 2015, we did a whole study 15.12. The difference is, though, that in order to do that, we copied over the broadband code, we made a bunch of custom CyberShake changes, we ran it successfully, but we weren't able to get any new developments from the broadband platform. Any changes to that code would have to be reintegrated into CyberShake. This time around, we didn't want to have to do that. We wanted it to be more sustainable from a software perspective. So we went in and refactored some of the executables in the broadband platform into an API that we could call directly from the CyberShake codebase. And so that way, any changes that are made to the broadband platform, we picked up with CyberShake. And I've just kind of given an example here if you're curious about how we've done that. This also is a schematic, just kind of explaining how we take these two, we filter and merge them and end up with a broadband seismogram. Well, thank you very much for coming by my poster. Please catch me later or send me an email if you have more questions.